Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome back to another episode of B Movie Bash. I'm Shannon.
I'm Alyssa.
And Happy New Year, everybody.
New Year.
This is going to come out like a week into the new year, but we're filming on New Year's Day, so
Fuck
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
Welcome to 2022.
Yeah.
Gross. Disgusting.
Or exciting. Who knows?
I mean, yeah, maybe. It's just another year older and it's weird and life is weird and time is weird and Betty White just died and everything is sad.
Yeah. I've seen it like two ways where people are like, oh my gosh, that's not a great way to like start our year. But then other people are like, Betty White knew she had to die yesterday or else we would have just been like, fuck it. Betty White died today. Like, screw the whole year.
Screw 2022.
She was like, no, this is how we're going to end off 2021 sucky. And then 2022, we're going to start off great. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that's how she would have wanted to go. Mm-hmm. There's all these other people sharing memes of her being dead. And all these people are like, this is so disrespectful. And I'm like, Betty would have been like, share the
Betty
memes.
White?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, Betty would have been like, give me them memes. Like,
also, something that was funny, but also I was kind of like, So my cat is named Betty White because she's white and we thought it would be funny. And my brother texted me and he's like, are there any other celebrities you want to curse, Shannon? I was like, rude!
See, she would have thought that was funny.
It's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Sad way to end the year. But
yeah,
hopefully 2022 is going to be good for everybody. But we're starting it off with a terrible movie.
Hooray!
Terrible movie.
Yeah.
And it is called Blackwood Evil.
Oh.
Okay.
That's racist.
Okay. I was looking for a movie that centered around New Year's.
Okay.
Because I thought that would be kind of a fun twist on things. And we just got out of Christmas. So I was like, in the mood for a theme.
Yeah.
So Blackwood Evil is what I came across. And it's not really about the New Year. It just happens on the New Year. Yeah. And like there's a part of it that matters. But it really doesn't. But it was made in 2000.
Okay.
Well, it was released in 2000. And so it kind of has to do with like the millennium change and all that fun Y2K bullshit.
That everybody is romanticizing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't need to bring back that fashion.
No.
Okay? Just stop it.
Yeah.
So yes, this movie has a 3.8 on IMDb.
Okay.
So it was not good.
Okay.
And that's fair, I think. But we'll get into that.
Okay.
So the synopsis of this movie is, on December 31st, 1999, 4 people entered a house located in the Blacklands of Texas to investigate a supposed supernatural activity. They were never seen alive again.
Ooh, is
this is a found footage.
Okay, woo! I love found footages. They're either great or they suck ass.
Thumbs down. Thumbs down. 2 months later, a videotape labeled with only the title Blackwood Evil was delivered to a television station in Sunrise, Texas. Mm-hmm. It chronicles the last hours in the lives of the 4 investigators as unseen demons take them one by one.
Okay.
So there's the entire movie.
Okay.
Right there for you.
That drives me crazy when synopsises or like trailers of movies give you everything.
Everything.
I'm like, no, a trailer should be 30 seconds long where you just go hype, hype, hype. I'm so excited for this. Yeah. Like, I don't need to know what's happening. I just need to be excited. Like,
don't tell me that there's the villain. Don't show me the villain. Yeah. Don't show me how they fight the villain.
Exactly.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's done.
Yeah. They do that all the fucking time now with these newer movies, or like all of the new trailers are like 2 minutes long.
Yeah. And
I'm like, well, there's the whole fucking movie right there.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a movie and been like, oh yeah, that was everything.
That was
like,
literally everything you showed me.
Or this movie is boring as hell. The only exciting parts were the ones you showed me in the trailer. Yeah, like, so.
True.
Or you're fucking jackasses like Paranormal Activity 2, and you show a camera angle that is not in the movie or the deleted scenes. Mm-hmm. Fuck that.
Mm-hmm. Or like with the new Spider-Man, how they like edited shit out of the trailers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, rude.
We
catch that. We see it.
We're not stupid. You think we are, but we're not.
If you haven't seen the new Spider-Man movie, go see the new Spider-Man movie. Good. Anyway, yes.
Sorry.
It's okay. So we are set up with text because, that's lovely. And it says, the following film has been considered lost since 2000. It was recently discovered on a damaged VHS tape, which it says since 2000, but the movie came out in 2000. So there's not a big Like, this was released in 2007 and it's been missing for 7 years.
Oh, yeah, no, it's been missing for like 2 days. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
It's been maybe weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But yeah, it says, Point of View Horror has attempted to recover the film for preservation. So
okay.
we'll talk about that more. But
all right.
on February 14th, 2000, a single videotape was hand-delivered to a television station in Sunrise, Texas by person or persons unknown.
Okay.
Labeled with only the title Blackwood Evil, it is to date the only solid evidence in the New York tragedy, which makes no sense to me because it says it's in Texas.
Okay.
The New York tragedy, which took the lives of television reporter Jane Fox, cameraman Eddie Johnson, psychic Margaret York, Margaret Fellows, and land developer Travis Taylor. It is here for the first time in its entirety, just as it was received. I don't understand the New York part.
Okay.
But we're just gonna... There was also, like, typos in this text. Yeah. Like, it was, like, it's with an apostrophe instead of, like, not an apostrophe.
Okay.
There was a few things that I was like, okay, people, sure. And then I just wanted to set up the scene a little bit by letting you know that because this is a found footage, they filmed, like, the most boring shit. Like, he was just filming everything.
Everything, yeah.
There was an awful white static noise the entire time. It was awful.
Okay.
And, like, I get that this was actually filmed in, like, 1999, but it was so bad. It was like watching a home movie from the 80s. Yeah. And there are also quite a few scenes that are too dark to see anything.
I fucking hate that.
Yeah. And it wasn't just my screen, because my computer screen is bright as fuck.
Yeah.
So it was just low quality and dark. It was really frustrating.
And they do that because they're like, oh, it'll make it spookier. And I'm like, no, just don't show us the thing, the creature, or the whatever, you know, like...
Well, and it's dumb because, like, they're walking from room to room showing this creepy stuff happening, and we can't see it. And so I'm like, what are you freaked out about? Yeah. I don't know.
Like, it's pitch black. I don't see shit.
Yeah.
Like, are you freaked out because it's pitch black? Because I agree with you on that.
Because that is scary, yes. Yeah, it was dumb. Yeah. But anyway, it says that this is filmed in Fort Worth, Texas.
Okay.
So
but it's the New York tragedy.
Yeah, okay. I don't understand. Okay. Anyway, okay, so like I said, this person, Eddie the cameraman, is filming everything. So it shows him, like, walking up to the house, and he's like, oh, we're going up to Jane's house, we're gonna see if she's home, and he, like, knocks on the door, and he's like, she told me to film everything, so here I am, I'm filming everything.
I hate when they make an excuse like that. Like, mine has legitimate reason why it would be, but, like, they're like, I was told to film everything, so I'm gonna film me going to the bathroom. I'm gonna film me do it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna get into that a lot.
No point.
So she lets him in, and she's like, oh, hey, ha, 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 come in. And I think they're both probably, like, late 30s, early 40s. Like, they're adults, you know what I mean? And they're talking about, you know, going to this place, and it's just, like, this long scene of her, like, figuring out what to pack for this investigation/interview.
That's so fun. I love that.
And so she's like, well, should I wear, like, this black outfit? But, like, it's gonna be... She didn't talk like this. She had a Dallas, like, Texas accent. But she was like, should I wear black, or is that gonna be too dirty? Because we're gonna be sitting down, and it's gonna be this abandoned place. And, like, should I bring a coat? Is it gonna be cold? It's gonna be cold tonight. And, like, all of this stuff. And I was just like, okay, I guess.
Like, I'm exhausted watching this already.
Yeah. And then she's like, are you just going to film everything? And he's like, well, you told me to film everything. Ha ha ha. And there's, like, a couple, like, things where she, like, turns around to pick something up. And he's like, oh, yeah, good butt shot. And, like, it was just, like, I don't know. Like, it was believable in that, like, it seemed like they were friendly and they had worked together before. But it was just kind of like, but why do we need this, though?
Why? Why is this a thing?
Yeah. Like, can't you just start out in the house?
Yeah.
Why? But anyway, she adds that she talked to... Oh, that she's already been out to the house once because she wanted to get a couple shots, and that she has talked to Travis, who is the person who owns the land, and that he's going to meet them out there, and that they've kind of, like, talked back and forth about what to expect for the night. And she asks Eddie if his assistant has gone out there to set everything up, and he's like, yep, he went out there, he's setting up a stationary camera, he's setting up lighting in all the rooms because it's, like, abandoned, so there's no electricity out there. He's setting up a generator, there should be food, like, everything should be, you know, good to go. And then he's like, all we have to do is find the ghosts. And she's like, oh yeah, we are gonna find ghosts. Like, that is the plan. And Jane also says that she talked to the psychic and is really excited to interview her and have her come out and check everything out.
Okay.
Then it cuts to them driving in the car, and they're talking again about how everything should be set up in the house, and there should be a camera, and there should be lights, and there should be a generator. And I'm like,
hooray.
Why are we having the same conversation? You just got in the car and you're driving.
Yeah.
So why? Okay.
They really didn't plan that very well.
No. And then Jane is talking about how she talked to Travis again, and they said that they could film there. And she's like, I don't know, he seemed a little weird on the phone. Like, he seemed a little funny, so hopefully that doesn't cause any issues. Mm-hmm. And she also talks about how she wants to get some B-roll footage of the land, and there's this creepy cemetery that she wants to check out. Mm-hmm. And, like, there's this other house that's right on the edge of the land that she wants to film by. So it's just spewing all of this at us, okay? So we see, it cuts to Jane standing in front of this old dilapidated house that is on the edge of the property, like she was talking about, and she basically gives us the entire like history of the place. So this land is called the Blacklands of Texas, and people believe that it's the portal to evil, or one of the portals, right?
Okay,
because they're everywhere. And it dates back to the Mesoamerican era, which was 37,000 years ago.
Okay.
Okay.
The land?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, there ain't no way the house is.
No.
Like, but I love how people are like, yeah, this land dates back all the way to like, you mean the dawn of time?
To Earth.
To like when Earth
happening.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
That's how old this land is.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. It's dumb.
I just. Stuff like that drives me crazy because they're like, yeah, like I totally understand if they're like, this castle was built this long ago, or like we discovered this area this long ago, but I guarantee you it's been there.
It's existed.
It's been
forever.
There.
Like, literally forever of the world.
So
forever. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good. She goes on to say that in 1946, a group of archaeology students found the remains of an ancient hunting party. Their joints were pulled apart.
Oh.
And their bodies were laid out in a pentagram shape with their heads placed on their chests.
Oh,
okay. And she says that like this predates any other known signs of the pentagram as a symbol in general.
Okay. In Texas.
No.
No.
In general. Like the Mesoamerican bodies are laid out in a pentagram. Yeah. So not 1946, but like them.
Okay.
Yeah. She also mentions that they found the bones of a mastodon and a Columbian elephant and tools, but I don't know why that matters at all. Okay. So there's that.
They're like, this is just all the shit they found there. So
she also says that there are caves in the area that show pictographs of strange creatures coming out of the earth to attack the natives. But from what I know, caves are in mountains, and there is nary a mountain to be seen in this area whatsoever. It's just flat.
Okay.
So I was like, cave?
Are they like, they're like underground caves?
I don't know. Or like, is the area like 20 miles?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because fuck underground caves, man.
Right? I just fucking thank you.
I will never. You'll never catch me in a cave.
No.
I've seen way too many of these movies to be ever taken into a cave.
She also says that little is known about these ancient people, and that there are like no records, like they just disappear without a trace, kind of a thing. Not the like Mesoamerican people. But this whole time, so she is a professional journalist.
Okay.
It is her job.
Okay.
She works for a station.
Okay.
And she is like reading off of index cards, and not even like looking and then saying a chunk of words. It's like looking and saying and looking and saying. And I was like, you're a grown ass person who does this for her job, and you can't remember like an index card worth of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you're the one over here wanting to make this like a thing.
Legit, yeah. Like a documentary series. And like half the other time she's like turning away while she's talking, and like talking at the house, and I'm like, we can't hear you when you talk out of the microphone. But yeah, it was just annoying that she kept, it just seemed very unprofessional, and like there was times where she would have to like cut because a car was driving by, and I understand that. But if you're gonna set a bar of professionalism, like why not make that for the whole movie? Be professional. I don't know. It was dumb. It's just a little gripe. I feel like I have like nothing good to talk about, so I'm sorry for this episode right up front, because it was just dumb. Okay, this next scene makes me angry. Okay. So the next scene is 2.5 minutes of them talking while he films out the window while they drive in the car. That's it. Like, it, like, looks at her face at one point, looks out the windshield at one point. Every other time, it's just out the window while they talk.
I would be car sick watching this fucking movie. Like,
I'm glad I don't get car sick.
Oh my gosh.
But they talk more about how she went over to the house earlier and she checked it out and it looks pretty run down and like there's graffiti and all of this stuff. And she's like, you can't tell Travis that I was there though because he's pretty weird. I don't think he would like that I was there without his permission. Mm-hmm. So why did you go? Yeah. You grown-ass adult who could be charged with trespassing. Yeah. Okay.
Like, you're allowed to go here later. Why are you there before? Like,
I don't know. Yeah. So that's just setting up a great, vibe for everything. And then she also says that they signed all these forms and they faxed everything back and forth and has all the paperwork so that he has agreed for them to be there tonight. And Eddie's like, so what, do you think we're going to find some demons or some ghosts? Are we going to find Casper? Like, what's this going to be? And she was like, oh yeah, we're going to find some ghosts. I don't usually get feelings, but I got some feelings in this house. Like, I know something's here. Which is a dumb thing for her to say, I feel, because apparently she does investigations like this a lot. Okay. So I'm like, why do you do it if you don't feel thing? I mean, I guess it's to go and, debunk whatever. Yeah. But like, it was just kind of like, okay.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Like, if you don't have feelings, what are you excited about? Yeah. I don't know. Anyway.
You don't go ghost hunting unless you really want to go ghost hunting. Right. Like, ghost hunting can be so boring. But like...
Yeah. People don't understand that you literally just sit there in the dark and talk to yourself 98% of the time.
Right. So, for those of you who don't know, Shannon ghost hunts. She's
wearing my ghost hunting shirt right now.
Yeah. And I've been with her once, and so...
Twice.
Twice? Oh, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, we've been twice, and a lot of it is just sitting there. Yeah. Like, waiting for things to happen. Yeah. And, like, talking, and...
Yeah. And most of the time, you don't know things are happening until you listen back later. Yeah. If anything happens.
Yeah. And so you're just, like, sitting there. Yeah. Feeling like you're stupid. Like, just...
Talking to nothing. Or something, So. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Oh, she also says that she's really excited about the psychic, and she hopes that she can help them out. Mm-hmm. And that she looked into her background, and it seems like she can... Like, when she touches things or when she's in an area, she can feel... past events, and she can kind of tell, like, sense what has happened there.
Oh, she's a touch know.
Yeah, cool. Touch know. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, that's what some people call it. When they touch certain things, they can feel the emotions that had happened, like the last time that item was touched.
Gotcha.
So
nice. Yep. Never heard that before.
Mm-hmm. She also... Clearly, you haven't watched Rose Red.
I have not. Sorry.
Something's wrong with you.
Okay.
I own it on DVD.
Okay, well, invite me over sometime, maybe.
It's like 6 hours.
For a very long time. She also talks about possibly interviewing Travis as well because his parents/grandparents owned and lived in the house. Mm-hmm. And, like, everything with their history is, like, mysterious and strange and weird and, yeah. Okay. So, there's that. Okay. So, finally, after they have been driving for fucking ever... It was so long. They pull up at the cemetery and she wants to film a segment there. Mm-hmm. And so they're kind of looking around and they're talking about how creepy it feels and how she's like, oh man, I wish the psychic was here to, like, tell us what she feels and, like, all of this stuff. And let me tell you, going back to the paranormal investigator part of myself, mm-hmm. in my experience, I know this isn't everything and everywhere and everybody, but why would a ghost want to hang out in the place where they're buried? Yeah. Why would you want to be there? Why would you attach yourself there?
Yeah. Like, if you had the actual ability of choosing where you get to go. Yeah. Like...
In my experience, cemeteries are dead. Mm-hmm. Like, they just are.
Me, I'm like, to me, that's just your body being there. Why would your body be, like... Why would your soul still be attached to your body? Because then, every cemetery would be, like, haunted. Yeah. Like... Extremely haunted. Yeah. So, like...
For the most part, like, you're not going to get shit hanging out in a cemetery. You're just going to scare yourself.
Right. And not only that, you're out there. You're outside. It's so loud. You're not going to get...
so hard to record outside.
If it is haunted, you're not going to get shit out there.
No.
So, like...
You're going to get crickets. Mm-hmm. You're going to hear every animal and think it's a ghost. Mm-hmm. You're going to hear the police coming telling you to leave because you're not supposed to be there after dark. Yep. Been there, done that. Yeah. It's not...
I've been there. We didn't get the cops called on us. So
That's
it was great. Yeah.
That's good.
So.
Yeah. It's just, it's not...
Yeah.
If you want to hang out there, that's fine. But don't go there to ghost hunt because it's not... But anyway.
Also, that's people's final resting places. Let them
True.
be. Like,
be respectful.
Yeah. Because I've seen people, like, walking over graves, and I'm just like,
I hate that.
That's so rude.
Yeah.
Like, it's just rude.
I hate it.
So, just
That's one of my biggest pet peeves. Yeah.
Like, they always show the movie where, like, somebody's, like, kneeling, like, right in front of the tombstone, and I'm like, you're on top of them. Like,
yeah, that's their body.
That's weird to me. Like,
yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah.
So she has some more cue cards, and she's doing this segment on the cemetery, and she talks about how a bunch of Spaniards are supposedly buried there from back when there were Spaniards in Texas. And just as she says that... Oh, she says that the locals told her that not many people come out to this area anymore because it's kind of like way out in the middle of nowhere. And just as she's saying that, a truck pulls up. And so she's like, oh, you know, cut the video, but he keeps recording, of course. And this guy gets out of the truck, and he is the most, like, podunk Larry the Cable Guy talking guy I've heard in a while. So he gets out and he's like, y'all are not supposed to be here. I don't know what you're doing here, but you got to get out of this here cemetery. Like, it was pretty bad.
Them there.
Yeah. I have another part that I like to quote. But so she comes and she's like, oh, I'm Jane. Whatever my name is. And I'm I'm a journalist and I'm doing a piece here. And she's like, actually, we could interview you if you want. You could be on TV. This is going to be on TV. And he's like, I could be on the TV. Like, that's how he talks. Okay. It was pretty funny.
There television.
That television set over there that I picked up at the Walmart. Like, that's...
The one with the rabbit ears? Like...
Yeah. But he gets a little more excited after that. He's like, the TV. Why didn't you say so? So she, like, pulls him over so they're in, like, good lighting and all that fun stuff. And they start talking. And he says that he's the caretaker. And that his dad was the caretaker before him. And so, you know, they've always kind of watched over this place. And they know a lot about it. But as soon as she starts asking him anything about the history or the hauntings or anything, he's like, oh, we don't talk about that. We locals, we don't talk about that. How dare you ask me those kinds of questions? And she's like, okay,
this is not going to go on TV then.
No, not at all.
Haven't you ever seen an episode of Ghost Adventures?
Right? Like, come on. He does say that there are graves that predate the Civil War, so it's a pretty old area. And then he's like, yeah, that happened a long time ago. We don't talk about anything that happened here. And he's like, I don't know if it was like people doing weird culty shit or if like something else happened, but we don't talk about it. I don't believe in anything, but maybe I believe in a little bit. And he was just like so vaguely weird about everything. She asks him like why he doesn't want to talk about it. And he's like, well, the locals, we get mad about it. We don't want to drag that stuff up. That was in the past. It should stay in the past. And then she asks about Glenn Taylor's grave, who is Travis's grandfather who died in the house. And he's like, oh, we don't talk about them either. We don't talk about them. Taylors. There's no Taylors in this cemetery. They were buried somewhere else and we don't talk about them. Like, why are you getting so defensive if they're not even there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Calm down, sir. What's in the past is in the past, sir.
I know, right? So he gets all huffy and he says, you can film all you want, but you only got 5 minutes and then you have to get out of here. And he kind of like wanders off.
You can film all you want, but you got 5
for
minutes.
5 minutes. That's all. Film all you want for 5 minutes. Yeah. And so they're like, I understand what they were going for, and I know it was 2000, but they were like laughing at this guy, and she was like, I gotta wait until he pulls away before I start laughing. And then they talk about how he's like a real like small town lunatic experience, and the camera guy's like, yeah, it's all the inbreeding. It's like, okay. Like,
but aren't you guys here with your
rude.
Southern accents too?
Right? Like okay, assholes. Yeah, it was just kind of like too much. But anyway, they decide that they're going to keep filming. And so she says that the city of Blackwater was born in 1841 and that it had the highest rate of murder in the entire state of Texas.
Okay.
And that at the turn of the century, all of these kids began disappearing and like all this weird shit started happening.
Okay, spooky.
I know. And then in 1900, the town just kind of like died away because a bunch of townsfolk came through and started like setting everything on fire and like wreaking all this havoc. And then everybody just kind of moved away because of all the chaos, and it just kind of got overrun with like plants, and no one lived there anymore.
Okay.
So it's like this dead city. And then cuts to them pulling up to this house, the dilapidated haunted house. And she, makes a comment about how it's out in the middle of actual fucking nowhere. Like, there's nothing around here. And Travis is already there. He's in his car and he's on the phone. And she kind of pulls up and is like waving at him like, hey, we're here, whatever. And he's just kind of like not looking at her at all. And so she's like, okay, asshole, like, you're gonna be on the phone.
Well,
he's
on the phone.
I know. But I think she makes a comment like, oh yeah, he was on the phone when we were talking before. And like, I don't know. They're just setting him up to be an asshole.
Okay.
Which he is.
Okay.
Definitely. He's so...
over the top asshole?
So much. Yes, so much. And like, I get what they were doing. I really do. But holy shit balls. They were doing everything to make him like the worst
person ever. Yeah.
Possible. So he finally gets out of the car and he talks about how the assistant who was setting everything up was at the house without him. Like he was there before me and I don't appreciate you guys coming onto my property and like all this stuff. And he didn't have permission to be there. And she's like, okay, but we signed the release forms. So yeah, we do have permission to be here.
Yeah, like you gave us permission. That.
Yeah. And he's like, well, you might have faxed them over, but I never received them. So I brought my own copies for you to sign. And at first I thought he had like amended them, but apparently he didn't. He was like, these are the same forms. I just didn't get them. It's like, okay, why? Okay.
Also, sorry your fax machine wasn't plugged in.
Right?
It's not my
like,
fault.
why didn't you call me?
Yeah.
Yeah. It just seemed weird. And he's being all hostile and grumpy and whatever. And she's like, well, we have everything signed. Everything's fine. You don't have to stick around. I feel like we're wasting your time a little bit with this. So you can just go on your way and we'll be out of your hair and all this stuff. And he's like, no, I'm staying. I am not leaving my property with you guys here. I have a camera of my own. I'm going to film you guys while you're filming and like all of this stuff. Like he is like,
okay.
And he's like wearing a suit. Like he's a fancy businessman who has better things to do with his life. I was like,
why does he even own this property if he like
it's his family's property.
Sure, but like,
so I don't know, he's trying to sell it.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like, you can be here for an hour or two and get your story and get out of here because this place is not haunted and all this stuff. And they're kind of like,
then why was he okay with them filming there if he's like,
right? And he originally said they could be there like as long as they wanted / overnight, and now he's like, no, I changed my mind, you can be here for like an hour. They're like, it's not even dark.
Yeah.
Okay.
This guy is an asshole.
Yeah. And there's a random scene where Jane talks to the assistant to make sure everything is all set up and ready to go.
With the electricity and the generator and
the camera and the lights.
Yeah.
And, yeah, exactly. And she like offers for him to stay there, but he says that he has to go. And then we see Jane, who starts filming on the outside of the house. And she's like, we're going to be staying in the house overnight and we're going to do a seance and all this stuff. And we hear a car pull up and he's like, are you expecting someone else? Who is this pulling up to the house? And she's like, oh, that's the psychic. That's Margaret. And he's like, oh, you've got a fucking psychic to come here and prove that my house is haunted. My house is not haunted. I was like,
okay,
calm down, sir.
Your tits, calm them.
Calm them.
Yeah.
So Margaret pulls up and she like introduces herself. And Jane is like, well, I'm just going to finish filming this shot on the outside. So if you guys want to go inside, you can check it out. And Travis is like, I'm not leaving. I'm staying on the outside if you're staying on the outside. And the psychic says that she's going to walk around the house to kind of get a feel for things. And Travis is like, I'm going to stay out here to make sure you don't burn everything down or make up stories that don't exist. So he's just like stirring up all kinds of shit.
I can understand him being like, I just don't want you faking shit saying that my house is haunted.
Sure.
But burning it down. Why would we burn it down? Like,
I don't know.
That makes no sense.
And with what? The generator?
Yeah.
A flashlight? I don't know. So she starts filming and she says that in 1945, Glenn Taylor built this house for his family. And after his youngest son was born, his wife and oldest son were killed in a mysterious barn fire. Okay. And it was ruled as an accident. And they said like a lantern tipped over, but they don't actually know, I guess. Or maybe it's just like spooky enough, whatever. And then by 1967, Glenn had lost everything, whatever that means. And so on December 31st, 1967 at midnight, he decided to take his own life and he shot himself in his recliner.
Okay.
In this house.
Okay.
And then she also was like, and we have Travis, who is his grandson here, so maybe we can, get him to talk about his experience and whatever. And she's like, he so graciously invited us out to film there. And he's like, yeah, graciously my ass. And he's just like
sir, this is going on TV.
Right?
Like
hopefully we cut that out,
yeah.
but maybe not. But yeah, this is the point where she's like walking around the house as she films, and she keeps turning away to look at the house, and like the audio keeps cutting out, and you can still hear it, but it was like, this is not professional.
No.
This is not like...
No, you would pause at a room and be like, in here is this, you know, like, right? You would look, and then you would talk.
Or like how some reporters kind of like walk backwards, always facing the camera. Like, yeah. It was not super believable.
Yep.
But, you know, none of this was, so it's okay. So they're still on the outside of the house, and Jane asks Margaret if she wants to go and get a feel for things and tell us, you know, what happened in the house. And that pisses Travis off, which is a common theme. And she's like, yeah, I can feel things based on the space and if I touch things or, you know, whatever, like I said before. And Travis is like, you know what, you should just go inside, get your story before I change my mind. Just, you know, let's go and get this over with. And so he also says that he changed his mind and that they can't spend the night. They can only stay for a little while. And that it isn't haunted and he needs to sell this property and he can't sell it if they're going to spin it and say that it's haunted even though it's not haunted. And like,
yeah,
it's just stupid. He also yells at Jane and he somehow knows that she came by earlier and took shots of the house. And so he's like, since you already broke into my house, why don't you lead the way and take us on a grand tour of everything? And she's like, okay. All right. So she goes in and there's just like old furniture and it's dirty and there's graffiti and it just looks like an abandoned old house, right?
Why would you I would just tear it down and then sell the land. That's what I would do. Like,
no one's going to want that house.
No.
They're going to tear it down anyway.
Yeah, I would very much just be like, you could, or even like leave the house and be like, buy the land, the house comes with it.
Yeah.
Like,
do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Because it was not savable.
No.
Like, it half looked like it was propped up by plywood.
Oh, man.
Like, it was not good at all.
Bad house, yeah.
Bad house.
Fixer-upper would be like, let's just make it an open concept. Like,
knock everything down, start over.
Shiplap the walls.
Yes.
It'll be great.
Yes. Everything is better with shiplap.
Yep.
So Jane asks Margaret if she's getting any vibes from this place, which again pisses Travis off. And he's like, there's no vibes, there's no feelings, because there's no presence.
Sir, why did you let us come here?
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know. Genuinely, they ask that like 50 times, and he just is like, so I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. So yeah, Jane is talking to Margaret, and she's trying to ignore Travis, and she's like, are you feeling anything? Like, what happened in this home? And Margaret basically says that she wants to wait until closer to midnight because that's, you know, when all the spooky shit starts happening. And that if she feels like if she opens herself up to it now, she's going to get burnt out. And she has, like, gotten migraines from readings before, and it just, like, is totally exhausting for her. So she wants to wait.
Okay.
So they start walking through the house, and Jane is just commenting on, like, the graffiti and how, you know, teens have definitely been in here because of all this damage and stuff. And they point out that there's a back door that leads off the kitchen that comes into play later. And there's like boob graffiti and like marijuana graffiti and like, you know, all the typical like swear
dumb
words
teenager,
and stuff. Yeah. And a lot of these side rooms are so dark, again, that we cannot see what's happening. And so they just don't have lights in those rooms, I guess. But Jane walks into a back room and Margaret refuses to go back there. She's like, come on, let's go this way. And Margaret's like, no, like that's a room that I'm not going to touch. I'm not going back there. Sorry. And so Jane goes in there and she sees there is a ginormous pentagram painted on the floor.
Okay.
Like it's almost like someone spray painted? Spray painted it. It is one of those days. And it's like, you know, huge. It's huge. And then they turn and there is an altar with like candles and another pentagram spray painted on the wall behind the altar.
Okay, I think one too many, but all right.
So, you can never have too many.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just feel like conflicting. Like,
I don't know. Maybe it's just double power.
Okay.
I don't know. I also think, if I remember right, there is like a Halloween mask that someone left behind at some point, and Travis kind of picks it up and he's like, oh, you fucking kids leaving your shit, blah blah blah, you know.
Tear down the house and you don't worry about damn fucking kids.
You would think.
Like,
you would think. So Jane is kind of checking out the altar and stuff, and she gets super excited because she finds a Ouija board also like leaning up against the altar, right? And she's like, Margaret, maybe you can use this in your seance. And Margaret's like, no. I'm not gonna fucking touch that.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. And then Jane asks Margaret again what she's feeling in this back room. She's like, why won't you go back there? What's going on? And she's like, it's just bad energy. I don't want to go back there. I'm not going to deal with that.
Is Margaret the one we like the most?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, actually. And Travis interrupts and he's like, she's feeling that you're a pain in the ass and you need to get out of my house.
Okay.
All right, Mr.
Again,
Sir.
Sir, why am I here then?
Why did you allow this?
Yeah.
Ooh, why? It'd be one thing if it was like, yeah, my wife set this up and I have to come out here. But he literally agreed to it.
Yeah.
On some level. So why?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, the girls are just kind of like, okay, buddy. Like, chill out. Okay. And he's like, well, you need to speed things up before I get the police in here to escort everybody off my property. And he's just like super grumpy the whole time.
So if we have a legal contract,
right?
like...
That's what Eddie is like, dude, we signed your forms.
Yeah.
Like, if anything comes out and, you know, this demon eats us, you're not liable for it, so just chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, so just calm down, you pompous ass.
Good.
And Travis is like, I am a pompous ass, but I'm rich, so I can do whatever the fuck I want. And, like, walks out into a different room.
Okay.
Like, I mean, at least he knows.
Yeah.
But okay.
You own it, sir. You own that.
Yeah. And then, this part was very confusing and I hated it a lot. So he's being grumpy or whatever, and Jane, who she does not help. She's stirring all this up.
Yeah.
So I'll just put that out there. But Jane is like, I saw some used condoms back in the other room if you want to go have some fun, ha ha ha. Which, ew, first of all, fucking ew. Yeah. But then he goes, yeah, I could bend you over. Like, what?
I hate that!
Ew.
Ew.
First of all. But like, I don't know. She was like, okay, excuse me.
But you started it!
Yeah. But also like, thank you?
Yeah.
Like, is that a compliment? Also,
or is this going to be an enemies to lovers thing? Because, like, that is Alyssa's favorite trope.
I know.
So, like...
But no.
No.
Like, it was just, he's supposed to be an asshole.
Favorite trope. Anyway, but yeah.
What's your first favorite trope?
I like the guys that are, like, but only in fantasies. Only in fantasy novels and stuff. Because if this was real life, I promise I'd be slapping a bitch.
Oh, boy.
I like the guys that are, like, angry and mean to everyone except for
the girl.
The girl. The love interest. You know, like, that's, I don't know. I like those ones.
That's so nice.
Everyone else is an awful person except for
I'm
you.
an asshole to everyone but you.
Yeah, kind of a thing. That's
makes me think of The Witcher because we've been watching The Witcher.
Oh yeah, I haven't given the second season a try yet. I was offended by his wig in the first season, so
that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. It was. I feel like they were like, oh shit, we were supposed to start filming today. Let's run to like Spirit Halloween really quick and see if we can find anything.
Go down to Party City.
Yeah, that was the most awful wig I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good.
But a strange compliment. Okay,
I know,
thank you.
right? Like, thank you, but also fuck you,
Yeah.
but also no thank you. Yeah, but yeah, Eddie to that, he's like, okay, everybody, let's calm down. Let's take a break. Let's get a bite to eat because we can't really film anything until nighttime anyway. And at that, Travis is like, oh, you only have an hour. You're not supposed to be here after dark. And I'm like, have you not
been paying attention?
Been around for this entire fucking what?
Yeah.
Why?
Like, well, we're staying.
Do you know what ghost hunting is? You need the dark.
You want to call the cops? Go ahead and call the cops. They're gonna get here and be like, sir,
calm the fuck down.
Yeah. Like,
your tits?
Yeah.
Calm them.
Calm them.
So they take their break, and the next scene is Jane and Margaret sitting down to film her interview in the living room. And they explain that Margaret has a bachelor's in parapsychology, and she also got a master's in religious studies.
Okay.
And Jane asks when Margaret kind of got her first vision. Wow. Shut the fuck up. Jane asks Margaret when she got her first vision. And Margaret starts explaining that she started getting them, like, as long as she can remember. But she's like, I can tell you kind of like when I first realized that I was different from everybody else. And Travis is like, yeah, you're different. Yeah, you're so different. You're stupid. Like, off to the sidelines. And they're just kind of like,
you want to shut up? Yeah.
Do you want us to do this interview so we can fucking leave, please? Like, that's definitely kind of the vibe. They're like, shut up.
Yeah.
Sure. And then Jane is like, you know what? Maybe we can switch this interview to you. I dug up some stuff on you, Mr. Travis Taylor, and I know stuff about you that I can put on TV, or you can keep your mouth shut. And he just going on about how they're wasting his time and that all this garbage. And Margaret is like, well, if you don't want us to waste your time, how about you shut the fuck up so that we can do this interview and leave? How about that? Yeah. I was like, yes, Margaret.
Yes,
Thank
Margaret. Get him.
Yes, Margaret. So Jane starts again, but they hear something fall in the next room.
Okay.
Yeah. And Travis is like, oh, what are you rigging things in my house when you came here earlier? Are you making this stuff happen? And they're like, No. We didn't make... What are you talking about?
Yeah.
No. He's like, you're just creating a story that isn't there and all this stuff. And he says, how do I know you didn't hire some punk-ass kids to come up in here and do that? And she's like, we just walked through the house.
Yeah.
We saw that nobody was here. The only other entrance is a locked door.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? And she's like, how do we know you didn't hire someone in here to come and fuck with us? Like, I don't know. And so they start walking through the house to check out what it was. And they walk into the kitchen and see something that is apparently unnerving, but I don't know what the fuck it was because it was too dark to see. And they even say, like, that they can't really see too much. But Jane asks Travis for a flashlight, which is your first mistake.
Yeah.
Because he's an asshole. And he goes, why don't you just pull one out of your ass?
Why don't you pull one out of your ass, sir? Because it's clearly you have a stick up your butt. I wonder what else you got up there. Yeah.
I know. I was like, what? Like, I get the dynamic, but, like, fucking why?
Yeah. I wish that that they had shown him, like, having a wife there being like, Travis.
Right?
Let them film.
Something.
Like,
Make him a little less awful, but they don't.
Or, like, at least understanding about why he doesn't want them there, but, like, somebody else is like, they can be here, you know, like...
Yeah, reason for this to be happening. Yeah. Yeah, that would be nice. But yeah, so they see whatever it is in the kitchen that we don't get to see.
Uh-huh.
And Margaret apparently has done some research on Jane because she's like, do you remember your investigation that you did out in Michigan or wherever? And Jane is like, yeah. And she was like, that one was pretty bad, but if we don't be careful, this one could be worse. Like, this could be the worst one that you've done so far. And this
but she says that this is the one where she's pretty sure she's going to catch ghosts at?
Yeah. So I don't know what happened there.
Okay.
I don't know. So this whole next section is just more of them bickering about how Travis wants them off the property and blah, blah, blah. But they go back to interviewing Margaret, and Jane asks her if she has any feelings or insight, and Margaret is like, there's a strong presence and I can feel it, but I don't want to open myself up until midnight. And she then talks about, she goes into more of like her backstory, and she apparently has helped the police. She'll come into crime scenes and feel things out so that they can catch the killer and whatever. And they bicker more about the house being haunted, and he keeps like interrupting their interview and all this garbage. And Jane is like, we have signed the forms, we have permission to be here. Like, I work for an actual news station, so if you want to sue me, go the fuck ahead, because I have a team of lawyers working for my station. Like, go ahead, make my day, kind of thing.
And, like, I get it. Like, it's his house, but they're clearly not doing anything disrespectful right now. So, like, it's just...
They're just there.
They're,
existing.
Doing what they told him they were going to go there to do. Like,
But then she again mentions that she has dug up dirt on his family, and that, you know, she's like, oh, and your parents mysteriously died in a car crash, but I bet you had something to do with that, too. Did you cut their brake lines and, like, all this stuff? And he's like, you're just making bullshit. Like, you're just speculating. Why are you saying this? Like, it was just really dumb. So Travis gets his camera out to film them while they move on with the interview. So Jane asks Margaret why she agreed to come to this investigation, why she was, you know, so intrigued with it. And she says that she believes that there are portals all over the world where demons will be released at midnight on New Year's Day.
Okay.
So it must, I don't know if it's like a millennium thing or just like every New Year the demons are like, Happy New Year!
Let's get out of here!
Hey! Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, she says that there are a lot of religions that have the same kind of like prophecy or whatever about this happening. So she wants to get it on tape and prove that it's a thing so that people can keep themselves from getting possessed, is what she says.
Okay.
And I'm like, how do you, even if you are religious, even if you like talk to your religious leaders, like how do you prevent that?
Yeah.
I don't understand, but okay. So that's the main goal, I guess.
Okay.
Jane then asks if Margaret is able to tell anything about the people who lived here and if she senses anything. And she says that she can sense that Glenn Taylor committed suicide in the living room. And Travis freaks out and he's like, oh, you're speculating more about my family and my grandfather. And Jane is like, no, that's proven fact.
Yeah.
Like, that's public knowledge.
Yeah.
People know that's a thing. And he's like, well, don't you think it's disrespectful to be talking about that right here in this living room? And they're like, it's the truth.
Yeah.
And we want to get to the bottom of the story. We want to uncover the truth.
Yeah.
And he goes, there's no story here, but let's uncover the truth. If he killed himself in that recliner, maybe he'll come back to life and kill us all. Let's get to the bottom of it.
What?
Whose side are you on?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening?
What are we talking about
I
here?
don't know.
Like,
Travis.
yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So they start kind of talking about getting ready for the seance and what that process will be. And they say that they have about an hour until midnight at this point. So they decide to kind of wait. And Jane comments on how a lot of the strange things in this area have happened on December 31st at midnight. That's just a common thing through history. And Margaret says that this being the turn of the century, she believes it's going to be like 1,000,000 times worse for whatever reason. I don't know. And then Jane and Travis start bickering more. I'm telling you, 90% of this movie is them yelling at each other. So they start yelling and they decide to go outside and look on the property and prove that nobody's here playing tricks and like setting things up. They go outside and wander around for a while, and they go around the back of the house where they show that back door where the kitchen is, and then there's like a big old like padlock on it. So that you can knock it in from the back.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Or out.
Or out. And so she's like, see, there's no way someone came in that way and like did things in the kitchen. There's not, like, we didn't do anything. No one's here. And so they start walking back inside, and Jane, running her fucking mouth like the asshole that she also is like, we couldn't have gone to a house with a nice owner. No, we had to get this owner from hell.
Okay.
Why do you have to be the person
why are you
that makes it worse?
Yeah. Like, he's already an asshole. He already doesn't want you here.
Stop it.
Stop it. Like, if I was doing that, if I reluctantly was letting somebody film in my house and you were over here being like, yeah, well, you're just a fucking bitch, I'd be like, okay, well, now you can leave.
Yeah.
Because now you're insulting me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is like egging this on, and it drove me nuts that she got offended every single time he got mad. And I'm like, you're being a bitch.
Yeah. So
shut up.
They're just trying to make like a strong female character, and I'm like,
probably. But you don't have to be a bitch to be a strong female character.
No, you don't. No. That's what so many writers think a strong female character is a bitch. No. I'm like, no. She literally should have just been like, do you want me to call my lawyers? Because I will. We have a contract.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it's gonna be.
You literally allowed me to be here.
Yep.
So what do you want?
I'd be like, okay, you know what? That's it. We're wrapping up. We'll see you in court. That's what I would say.
Right?
That's how you write a strong female character. Like,
yeah. Stand up for yourself. Don't be a passive-aggressive asshole.
Yeah. Like, and I would take him to court. That's what I would do. Like,
that would be smart.
But that wouldn't.
But he's rich, so he can do whatever the fuck he wants to.
But I work for a news station that probably has a lot of money too. So like.
So by the time they're kind of like walking around and they go back to the house, it's apparently closer enough to midnight that they decide to set up for the seance. And Margaret says that she senses a very strong presence in this house, which, you know, again, gets Travis pissed off. And he's like, you're wasting my time saying that there's a ghost in this house. And like in the middle of Margaret being like, no, I sense something. It's strong. He's like, give me a damn break. And he like stands up in the middle of their interview and like slams things around and is like freaking out. And I'm just like,
is he possessed?
So they try to calm him down, and Margaret is talking about continuing her words. And all of a sudden she's like, oh my God. And the camera turns and we see there's like a TV mounted on the wall and blood is seeping down the wall. Yeah. And so they're all kind of like, oh my God, are you getting that? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And they're like freaking out, as you should be. And they hear slamming and banging from another room. So they go in to check it out, and Travis gets all upset, obviously, and he thinks that somebody is setting this up. And they go into the next room to explore, and the stationary camera, which is on like the front door side of the living room facing the hallway and stuff, sees him by himself in the living room after everyone has walked out. And he's like pissed and annoyed. And so he's like slamming things around or whatever. And he walks away, and we see him walk back in front of the camera with a gun.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
So they walk into the kitchen, and what they see now is that there are 4 chairs placed in the middle of the room, just like facing each other, like in a little circle. And Travis starts reading. Something is written, I guess.
Okay.
And he's like, you will... And then it trails off, and he doesn't actually read it. So I guess it's, you will die. You will something.
Okay.
And so they all start kind of freaking out about everything that's happening. So they keep walking around, and he again accuses Jane of hiring people to do all of this and freak everybody out. And Travis is like, they must have come into the house when we were outside walking around. And she was like, but we're walking through the house right now. Where would they be? Where would they have gone? What do you mean? And also there's like a knife stabbed into the wall that they find that wasn't there before, I guess. But it doesn't really have anything to do with anything.
I really feel like I would be the worst fucking ghost, because I wouldn't be writing like, you will die. I'd be like, get the fuck out of my house.
Please
like,
leave.
Yeah. But like, I would just be writing like profanity. That's what I would That would be me. I'd be the bitchiest ghost of all time. I was telling Zach that I wouldn't be allowed to, like, make up attack moves in, like, because we were watching Naruto and stuff, because I would be like, fuck your face! Like, I'd just, like,
I like that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I'd be like, ninjutsu, fuck your face! Ah!
Bam, bam, bam. What did you say with dick all over? What?
Oh, get dicked on.
Get dicked on. That could be your power move. Just yelling.
Bad.
I like that.
My Sailor Moon attack.
Imagine a Sailor Moon person, like, transforming, be like, get dicked on! No. I mean, yes, but also no. Oh, jeez. That's a great visual.
Thank you.
You need to draw that.
Yeah.
So as they're, like, walking through, Travis is like, okay, I've had enough of this. I'm calling the police, and I'm going to have you escorted off my property. So he starts walking around, and he starts calling, but his phone doesn't work.
Oh.
And he gets pissed about that. And Eddie's like, what, you think we did that too? It's a cell phone. Like, what do you... we didn't hire someone to break your cell phone. Like, no, that's stupid. And...
not only that, you're in Texas in the middle of nowhere.
That, like, too. In 2000.
In 2000.
Yeah. There's no service.
Yep.
With your brick Nokia.
Right.
Okay.
Even if it's a satellite phone. Like.
So Eddie, at this point, is, like, trying to kind of talk him down and be like, how did we do any of this? Chill out. And he's trying to get the gun away from him. And he's like, just give me the gun, man. Like, we need to all calm down. Give me the gun. But Travis pushes him to the ground and starts pointing his gun at Eddie.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. And they kind of, like, fight for a minute, and Eddie's like, what, are you gonna fucking shoot me? We have a camera right here. If you're gonna do it, just fucking do it. Go ahead, man. Just shoot me.
Yeah.
And, and Travis is like, you know what? You guys can stay here and fucking die. I don't care. I'm leaving. And so he starts gathering his stuff up, and there's, like, more banging and crashing happening from the other room, so they go and explore that. But Travis is leaving. And as he walks out the door, he, like, grabs a lamp and just smashes it and throws it across the room because anger.
Okay.
He's like, all right, chill there, buddy.
Dude.
Cool.
Like, you're trying to sell this house, sir. Like,
I mean, just knock it down at this point. But they keep talking about how there's definitely, like, a feeling in this house. And this is after he has walked out. And then all of a sudden, Travis, like, busts his way back into the door. And it scares the shit out of them, which was pretty funny. But he says that all of the batteries in all 3 cars have been taken out and are smashed on the ground. So there's no way for them to leave.
okay.
Yeah.
That's when you start hiking.
Yeah, right?
Like, sorry. Like, if I see that, I'm gonna get walking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk.
Yeah.
Like,
Bye-bye.
bye.
But yeah, he's like, they're just smashed on the ground. And they're like, we can't explain that. Like, we've been in here with you. Why would we have someone do that? That's stupid. And... he's like, well, it's just, this is all in your heads, and it's just a bunch of people playing games and all this stuff. And they walk into the room where the pentagram and altar was. And now the candles on the altar are lit and glowing red.
Red? Ooh, okay.
So they kind of get freaked out about that, and they decide to go outside and check out the car's situation so they can try to leave. And as they're walking out the front door, they can see that there is also blood, like, pooling across the threshold. Ooh. So they're like, okay, don't touch that. Don't step on that. Yuck, yuck, yuck. As they're outside, they hear more crashing and banging. I thought it was from inside, but they make it seem like it's just, like, on the property.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's, like, the shed in the back or... I don't know. But there's more noise.
They're just freaked out from.
Yeah. And Travis decides to just leave on foot. And the rest of the group is like, okay, I think we're going to be safer if we stay in the house, which... does not make fucking sense to me.
I mean, it would only make sense if you go into one room and, like, you're all in there and none of you leave.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only way. Because safety in numbers, kind of a concept. And, like, and I mean, I guess you have walls around you so that you don't have somebody coming at you from any angle.
True.
And, like, but...
yeah. So that's what makes me think...
I would get in the car. Like,
true. But yeah, that's what makes me think the sound was on the property, because they're like, we don't want to be out here, we want to be inside. So,
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, they're inside, and they decide to keep taping while Travis is gone. And Eddie's like, okay, but before we get any further, I want to go outside and make sure the generator has enough gas so that the lights don't cut out. Like, we need to, keep this going. And so they're kind of, like, spooked out, but the girls are like, okay, like, hurry and go check on it. So Eddie goes outside to check on the generator, and we switch to Travis cam view. And he's, like, walking in the dark, and literally all we can see is darkness and, like, this small circle of light that I assume is, like, his camera generating its own light.
Okay.
But it's not going very far because it's so dark. So he's walking through the dark, and he hears a few noises. And so he decides to randomly start shooting his gun.
Okay.
And yelling at whoever is out there.
Because that could just be like a person walking past and now they're shot. And listen, I know it's Texas, sir, but like that's not going to go down very well.
No.
Like,
no, it's not. So yeah, he shoots off like 3 rounds and he's like yelling at, whoever it is to get off his property and all this stuff. And as he's walking, he suddenly just gets knocked the fuck to the ground and he starts yelling and screaming and he says, "Dear God, help me." And then his camera cuts.
Okay.
So.
All right, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
He did. So back inside we see that the girls heard the gunshots and the yelling and they're kind of freaking out. Mm-hmm. And Eddie comes back inside and he was like, "I was back behind the shed and Travis was fucking shooting at me."
Oh, man.
And they're like, "Are you sure he was shooting at you?" And he was like, "Well, one whizzed past my head, so it was in my direction, whether or not he knew it was me." And they decide to go out and look for him. And so Jane is kind of yelling out and Eddie's like, "Hey, well, he still has 3 shots in that gun, so we need to be careful." And so Jane
you knew how many bullets he had in his gun before.
Well, because he shot 3, and you just
why
assume...
would even if it's a 6-shooter, he could have only had 4 bullets. So
but he could potentially have.
True, he could potentially have 6.
Yeah,
like nice to stay on the safe end of it. Yeah. Okay.
So Jane, they go outside, and Jane is like, "Travis, this isn't funny. Like, please stop shooting. Please just stop." And they're like walking around, and they come across this tree stump that is covered in blood.
Okay.
And there are 2 blood trails that are like heading back to the door that is locked as if someone had been drug inside the house.
Okay.
So yeah, they go back over and they check on the door and they see that it is still padlocked. And just as they're like focusing on it, there's like a bang from the inside.
Ooh, spooky.
Yeah. So they freak out and they start screaming and they run around to the front door and they walk in to where the kitchen is. And they can see that there is blood from the back door through the kitchen.
Okay.
And so they're like, "Oh my God, okay." And they turn to, I think, a bedroom. And we can see Travis laying in a bed, dead.
Okay.
With his legs cut off at the knee.
Ah!
Yeah. And his shirt is ripped open. And he has a pentagram drawn on his chest in blood. And it has a sickle in his hand. Okay. Like, I'm going to go out and cut wheat sickle. And he's also wearing the Halloween mask on his face, and he has a cigarette in his mouth.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and the gun is next to him on the bed.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how they find him. Oh. And they all obviously start freaking out.
Yeah, I would too.
But, like, it was just... So this is the point where the acting gets really unbelievable, and I hated it so much. Because Jane is just like, "Tell me this isn't real. Eddie, tell me this isn't real. This can't be real. Oh my God, Eddie, tell me this isn't real." I was like,
"You're not real.
You cannot exist. I refuse." So yeah, that's what they find. And Eddie grabs the gun, just, so that he has it. And they hear more banging going on in the house. Mm-hmm. So they run into the living room. And the girls push this, like, dresser or TV stand in the living room. I don't know. They push a piece of furniture in front of the door. Uh-huh. And because it's like an old house where all of the rooms have actual doors, mm-hmm. where it's like, I'm walking into the kitchen and I can close the door to the kitchen. Yeah. Like, for those reasons. Yeah. So they push that in front of the door and there's like banging and like the door is shaking and the girls are trying to hold it shut. And meanwhile, Jane is just like freaking out, asking what's going on and all this stuff. And Eddie is like, "I grabbed the tape from Travis's camera, which apparently was laying in the kitchen." So later I kind of figured out what was happening. So there were 4 chairs, right, sitting in their little circle. Mm-hmm. And when they went through after Travis had died, one of the chairs was knocked over on its back, mm-hmm. and his things were sitting on it.
Okay.
So that was kind of like, his little tally mark.
1 down, yeah.
Yeah. So Eddie had grabbed his tape, and he was like, "We need to watch this to figure out what happened." So they decide to watch it, and Jane just keeps moaning, and she's like, this has to be kids, right? Like, this isn't a demon. That's not real. This has to be a person that did that. And Eddie's like, "Well, he had a sickle. Did he do it to himself?" And I'm like, chop himself up at the knees and then kill himself? What do you mean?
No,
and drag himself through the house?
Yeah.
Through a locked door?
Yeah.
No. But Margaret is like, "No, this is demons. Like, this is a bad thing. This is also not cool."
But, like, not only that, even if they're like, "Oh my gosh, this had to be a person," there's a person out there
doing this
too.
Yeah.
So
that's also fucking scary.
Yeah. Something is going on, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. But Margaret thinks it's demons. And she says the demons will possess anybody and will make them do crazy things, just like Hitler and Vlad the Impaler and Jack the Ripper did. Because people couldn't have done those things. It had to be demons.
Yeah, it had to be demons, of course.
Like, okay, sure.
Not hatred and crazy psychoness.
No, not mental illness.
Yeah.
Jane is like, okay, well, if it is demons, like, you need to do something about this. And Margaret's like, I don't know what to do. I'm in over my head. Like,
yeah.
These are actual real demons killing people, so I don't know what you want me to do.
Yeah.
And Jane is like, well, if you can't do anything, then we're fucking dead. Like, what are we gonna do? Mm-hmm. And so Margaret is like, okay, well, I guess I will go check it out. And so she moves the thing in front of the door and she goes into the next room. And Eddie's like, wait, I need to get the camera so we have all this on camera, because this was all like this stationary camera. And so he's grabbing it, but Margaret's already walked away. And so Jane is like, wait, Margaret. And she goes after her, but the door for the room with the altars, she goes in there, slams shut. Ugh. And all of a sudden we hear Margaret screaming and yelling and freaking out, and Jane cannot get through the door. And she's asking Eddie to help her push the door open. And he's just like standing there with the camera. He's like, no.
He's like, I'm filming.
This is my job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
this is all I can do. I am helping.
Yeah. So then it goes silent. And the door finally opens. Jane walks in and she freaks out because Margaret is laying in the middle of the pentagram, dead, spread out, with candles at each point lit.
Okay.
So she dead. And so Eddie gets fucking pissed and he goes around and starts like throwing the candles and knocking over all of the altars and stuff so that hopefully it stops doing whatever it's doing.
Yeah.
And he goes out and he gets a sheet and lays it over Margaret, which I thought was kind of sweet. But he is like fucking pissed at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
And Jane, the moaning that she does, like she's just like, oh, Eddie, oh, like, I can't even do it like she did, but it was just like so dramatic. She was like, Eddie, I don't know what we're gonna do. Oh, Eddie. Like, it was so obnoxious. And that was like the last 30 minutes of the movie. It was just her panicking like that. It was awful.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So they go back into the kitchen because they heard another sound. And they see that another chair is knocked over. And on that chair is Margaret's shoe, her cross necklace, and something else that I couldn't see.
Okay.
And Eddie, who's all pissed at this point, picks up the cross and he's like, is this what you want to see? Do you like this? And he's just like yelling at her and yelling at everything. And he is like talking about how she brought all of this on them and she started this because she brought them there and all this stuff. And he's like, oh, you say that Glenn killed himself in this recliner? Well, you keep that camera rolling. Let's get something good on tape. And so he sits in the recliner. And he's like, should I do it like this? And he like puts it to his chin and he puts the gun to his head. And she's like, Eddie, stop it. No, Eddie. And she's freaking out. It was just a lot. And so he's pissed and he gets up and he's like tipping over furniture and he's throwing things and doing all this stuff.
Is this by Travis?
I guess. And he goes into the next room and he starts yelling at the demons. He's like, just fucking take me, demons. Just come and get me. Which, like, first of all, Don't do that. Yeah. Why would you invite that?
You're gonna get killed. Like,
yeah, you're dead.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna get killed anyway, but like, you're gonna get killed 10 times more because they're gonna be pissed about it.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, oh, he asking.
We're gonna come get him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he walks into the room and he's yelling and blah, blah, blah. And the door slams shut. Mm-hmm. And so she's like yelling at him and trying to get through and banging on the door. And finally it opens and she sees Eddie, who is hanging on the wall with his arms out to his side. And his shirt is torn open. And he has a pentagram on his chest. And while she's in that room, Jane hears more like glass breaking and crashes. And she hears growling. And there's like things flying across the room at this point. And she goes out into the living room and she's freaking out. And so she sets down the camera that she had. And she starts like packing and grabbing a bunch of things. And the camera keeps like glitching and doing like static and stuff. So she finally grabs whatever she's gonna grab and she goes outside and she stops at, I think, the shed, and she sets the camera down and she kind of like sits up against the shed and she's like, this is Jane reporting. And I'm like, you're gonna finish your report right now?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Yeah. But she was like, everybody is dead and like there's just been some crazy stuff happening that I witnessed. And she's like, coming out here was not a good idea, but I think the police are gonna come. I think they're gonna be here soon. And I was like, how? Why? Who?
Nobody called them.
No.
Yeah.
The phone didn't work. No one's out here. What do you mean?
Yeah.
But she's like in the middle of a sentence and she gets yanked sideways off the screen.
Okay.
And she starts screaming and yelling and then the video cuts. The end.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So the first 50 minutes of the movie was them setting up. Nothing paranormal happened for the first 50 minutes. And this movie was an hour and 23 minutes long.
Are you kidding me?
No. So for 90% of the movie, or whatever fraction you want to come up with, it was just garbage. Just them fighting and bickering and setting up this garbage.
I would rather watch a half-hour-long movie of awesomeness than...
Like, just them in the house.
Yeah.
Show them, like, showing up, setting up, filming the setup, sure. And then have fuck all craziness
Right,
go
or
on.
even, like, a montage. Like I said, like, in the last time, like, I'm okay with montages over opening credits.
If you're setting up something.
If you're setting up something, yeah. But, like, you could have a couple of scenes of them, like, driving to the house and be like, oh, look, a spooky cemetery. Ha ha ha. Like, let's, you know, like, a couple of just, like, clips of that thrown in. Like, it doesn't even have to be full. Like, it could just be, like, a couple of seconds of, like, driving. And then, oh, we're at a cemetery. And, like, oh, get my good side, Eddie. Like, them just having fun.
Not minutes and minutes and minutes and minutes and minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it could literally be, like, 4 minutes long of that.
Yeah.
And I would be like, cool, okay, I get the concept. They're friends, they're coworkers, they're going to do the thing that they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Like,
not 50 minutes
yeah.
of this garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. So,
Let's write a movie.
Right? This movie came out a year after Blair Witch.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's obvious that they were going for that. And I also learned that this is actually the first movie that this director has done, period.
Okay.
So thinking in that sense, I was like, okay, if this was your first movie, if this was like a college project, I'd be like, wow,
Yeah.
good on you.
Yeah.
You did a thing. And it was all right. Sure. The budget was also only $5,000. So I was like, okay.
Okay.
But, you know, everything else was not great.
So most of that probably went to candles and spray paint.
Yeah. And like maybe renting this house.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Paying the actors.
Yeah.
Here's $500 each.
And like the acting, like I said, like they made it pretty believable for the most part that they were like just filming and they knew each other and they were getting to know each other and like up until it was scary. That's when things were kind of like, okay.
I don't believe this now. Yeah.
This is not as believable. Before that, like they were long continuous shots. And so I don't know if it was like direct script or if it was more like, okay, this is the gist, make it up.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of like them not necessarily like stumbling over their words, but they would like start to say something and then say something else. And like it just felt
Like how normal people talk. Yeah.
It felt natural.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that. So I gave acting a 4 since some of it was decent, but then the rest of it was annoying and there was screaming and the moaning and the arguing and all the garbage. So the filming, I said a 6 because it was supposed to be found footage.
Yeah.
So obviously
So
like
it's supposed to be
it's going to be crappy quality. But what took me out of the film was that, so there were at least 3 different cameras that they were filming on. And there were scenes from each camera pieced together for this VHS. So, like, whoever made the tape and found all the footage, not the company, because the company said they just put out the VHS.
Yeah.
So whoever it is made this movie and cut the pieces together.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like, this scene is the stationary camera. This scene is Travis's camera. Like, they would cut from one to the other, like in the middle of dialogue so that it flowed nicely, but it was like obviously different camera angles. So I was like, that doesn't make sense in this instance.
Yeah.
But okay, sure. So that bugged me.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah.
The cops going out there finding it are like, hey, let's edit this
Let's
together.
make a movie,
Yeah,
man.
this is gonna be good.
Yeah. For effects, I just gave it a 5 because there wasn't really, like, everything happened off screen except for, like, a few things flying off the shelves. So we didn't really, like, the blood looked real, I guess, enough in that dark kitchen that I couldn't see any fucking thing. So, like, I don't know. There weren't really any effects, so I just said 5. And then for story, I said that it was a 2 because this could have been a really cool concept.
I know, like, when you were talking about all the spooky stuff, I was like, this is actually getting kind of good sounding.
Yeah.
But then I remembered that the first
50 minutes is garbage. Yeah. So, like, and it wasn't even, like, it wasn't done well enough to like cancel out that first part of the movie. Like it just wasn't.
Yeah, because there are some movies that are like that where like the first half is super boring as hell, but then the second half is like super good, and you're like, oh yeah, like that was worth it.
Even Paranormal Activity will show you these boring security camera footages that don't really mean anything, but they kind of need to be there. Yeah. You're like, okay, I get, you know, nothing scary is happening here, but we need it. But this, I was just like, why? Yeah. No. Like, backstory, I guess, but like, can't you set all of that? I don't know. It was just
for as much as like backstory she was talking about being like Glenn, you know, Travis or Glenn Taylor or whatever, blah blah blah. Like that could have been 10 minutes of the movie. Like,
and like, why do we need to know about the Spaniards and the Mesoamerican? Like, can't you just say that like a lot of weird shit has happened? Yeah, a lot of spooky things happened here. Like, okay, so
I'm sorry you watched that.
It's okay. Thank you. But yeah, the thing that like was, I think, the most disappointing was that like it wasn't even really scary. Like they didn't do any jump scares. They didn't really have special effects. It was just kind of like noises off in the distance. Let's explore the noise. Now I'm dead. Like it was just it was very lame.
Like I am totally okay not seeing the creatures or the whatever that's killing you. Like that's totally fine. Sometimes that's scarier. Yeah. But give me a little something. Yeah. You know, like
show like people like like the things getting knocked off the shelf. If that had been one of the first things they saw, that would have made sense. But that was like the finale. Yeah. That's not a finale. No. That's lame. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry.
I mean, like that's you get the knocking in the other room and you're like, ooh, what is that? Could that be a person? Yeah. Like that's fine. But then later they're filming and you start seeing the things get knocked off the shelves and you're like, oh my gosh, this is actually really scary. Oh no, now my phone doesn't work.
How did we rig that, Travis? Yeah, we couldn't have rigged that.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, the fact that was like the big ending, like, oh no, shit's happening. It was like, have people get knocked around. Yeah. Have furniture flip over. Something. Yeah. Like, something tangible in front of me happening that I am like, oh man, shit is real. Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, I think overall, I mean, a 3.8 is not bad, but it was just kind of disappointing. Yeah. So maybe like a 3. Yeah. 2.5. Something like that.
D-.
Yeah. Not great.
Not great.
But I mean, again, for like their first film, yeah, sure.
Yeah. You made a movie.
You did it. Yay. You did a thing.
And for $5,000, good job. Like, I mean, yeah. Yeah. Other movies are like millions. If someone wants
to give us $5,000 to make a movie.
Oh, I will make that movie. I'll make the really shit out of that movie. It'd be great.
I'll make that movie so good. Yeah. That'd be cool. But anyway, I'm losing my voice. So if you happen to have seen that movie, I don't know how you would have because it doesn't fucking exist anywhere. But let us know.
Where'd you watch it at?
I don't even remember.
Oh, just online?
I don't even think it was Tubi. Was it Tubi? No, it was. There was another one I was going to look at that I was going to watch that was like fucking nowhere. But this one was on Tubi. Okay. So you can watch it if you want to, but it's just kind of a waste of time, like Travis said. But let us know what you think in the comments or send us an email at bmoviebashpodcast@gmail.com. You can watch our videos on YouTube where we have screenshots, except I don't know if this one will because it's so fucking dark. And there's no pictures on IMDb because it's found footage. Oh, yeah. So I don't know. You can listen to the podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, Google, Apple, Amazon Prime, or Audible. Whatever is your favorite. Just pick one and go for it. And we also have a Kofi page where you can support the podcast if you would like to. So if you want to drop a little donation, we would appreciate that so very much. I think that's it. Yeah. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We love you.
Love you.
We're sorry. Have a great time.
Have a great time.